Hello and welcome to our video, Hyperdocs and Playlists. My name is Corinne Kelly and I'm one of the educational consultants for SOIDA, a state ed tech in Ohio. If you have any questions about Hyperdocs or playlists after this video, please feel free to email me at Corinne, C-A-R-Y-N, @soida.org, and I'd be happy to answer any and all of your questions. There is a link that you're going to want to access to get a hold of these two links I'm going to be talking about today. So I've made a shortened URL for this presentation. It's just bit.ly/hypeplay, HYPEPLAY. And that's going to take you here, and then you'll be able to access these two links. We're going to be looking at hyperdocs.co, and then we're also going to be looking at a link to an article from Cult of Pedagogy. That's a really great resource to kind of give you a little background information on using playlists with your students, especially for differentiation. If you are planning on getting a certificate for watching this program, you'll want to head over to ohioedtechs.org, fill out the form that accompanies these videos, and you'll need the code HYPE, HYPE. Make sure that's in all uppercase, and then that certificate will be emailed to you following submitting the form. Okay, let's go ahead and head over to hyperdocs.co. So what a hyperdoc is, here we go, is a collection of links within a document that allows you to include everything a student needs for a project or an activity or an assignment, a lesson, all in one place. So if you're kind of familiar with WebQuest used to be really popular, where there would be a website and students would have these links that they would work their way through. Really, really similar. The very best website available for getting started with Hyperdocs is the site that we're on right now, hyperdocs.co. And there's a lot in here. So there's resources and there's templates and really just everything that you need. So if you come in here to the homepage, they have a blog that they're running in here. So that's going to be a really nice resource for you as well to look at. Hyperdocs is not a WebQuest. Similar, but not the same thing. Okay. And this is a really great resource for you to kind of get a nice background foundation about this, about Hyperdocs. Kind of gives you an idea of what they are. And the idea is to do a couple of things. One, it's to take more online, move away from all the paper stacks and stacks of paper that your students are having to deal with. Two, it's to make things more interactive, more dynamic, allow you to include lots of different tools that are going to make your lessons more engaging and interesting to your students. And then another thing that these are going to allow you to do is allow you to walk away from standing in the front of the classroom delivering content and move more toward facilitating and supporting your students, giving them a sense of ownership and allowing them to have more self-directed and guided learning so they can kind of take the reins on this one. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at a Hyperdoc. So we've got in here some resources. Let's look at some samples. Okay, let's see, I taught ELA. Let's go in here. So when you click on these, it's going to take you to a rather large collection of content, which is great, and you're welcome to use any of these and modify them. We hear the term Hyperdocs used a lot, but you'll see when you look at this that you're also going to have a lot of slides presentations. Those are really, really great for this too, where you can have one item per slide, and we'll take a look at both of those. Okay, let's look at fourth grade mythology. All right. Right. It's 10 steps to understand mythology references in text. I want you to look at this and I want you to see that this is not a worksheet. Okay. It's also not just like a web quest, where a web quest would just send you off to another website to do something, okay? This has got a lot of different elements kind of woven together to make this a really dynamic, engaging experience for your kids. All right. All right. So they've given them some things to think about up here. All right. And then look at this. I love this. So they have asked them to read and highlight words that might be important to the overall meaning, and they've given some examples here. All right, so they have a reading selection in here. They've given them some things to do, some examples to think about, so the kids can reference those. And then they've been given a directive here, talk about with your partner. So they're still interacting with each other. What does this mean? Now we're going to dig deeper. Why did they use this phrase? So what were the phrases? Why did they use them? And then they've got reflection and assessment. Now we're going to move on and we're going to expand. So I've got a link to video. I've got mythology references. I've got myths to explore. So they're going to send them out searching to see if they can find references to mythology in their everyday books. So they're going to pull up some of their own books. Look, they found an example in One Big Kid. So I've got a lot of things going on here. I've given my kids some direction. They're going to have to take that and run with it. I've got my reading selection in here. We're utilizing the technology and the tools in the technology to be able to interact with that reading selection. I've got some direction to interact with other students and collaborate, reflection questions, and then we're going out utilizing video, websites. So it's all contained in here. Kids can work through it at their own pace, okay? All right, let's take a look at, commas. Why not? Now I love Google Slides, especially when you're using them for something other than a slideshow. I think they really offer some nice options here. So we have over here directions. So using the image above for inspiration, I can think of a lot of things to write about this. Write a sentence that correctly incorporates each of the comma rules. So I've got a table I'm going to fill out here with my rules. And then there's a challenge. Find a fun image prompt, an image prompt, and write a story that incorporates at least 6 of the comma rules on the slide below and share to the Padlet. So we've got in here, we've got something where we're interacting. We've got our own interacting and asking questions. We've got our own challenge. So we're going to be writing our own content in here, and then we're going to be taking that out and taking it somewhere else. So the previous Hyperdoc that we looked at had videos, it had links that we had to visit. It was pretty robust, and there are some that have even more content in them. But it can also be something simple like this, where the students can just come in and utilize these tools. Okay, let me take a look at one more. Let's go into some of the other samples. Let's look at math. Go on the kind of other side of the spectrum here. Now you see all these in here. Remember, you can make copies of these and utilize them and reshape them, reform them into what you need. Let's look at this one. I don't want to get into too high level math right here, right now, right? Okay, geometry with coding, robots, and more. All right, so this is interesting. So the teacher's breaking them into 4 groups. They each have a different challenge. So they have to come in and jump to their task. So let's see. Let's do volume with magnetiles. So they're going to jump down here. They have a video. And that's just a screenshot of the video. So they've got a link to the video they're going to watch. And then they're going to be using their magnetiles to create 3 different 3D shapes. Work as a group. They have to use a ruler to provide and calculate their volume. And then after, they have to use this Google drawing to show the 3D shapes they created, click on the image to edit. So this is an embedded Google Drawing. And I do not have editing access to this one. The kids would have editing access. This would be one where I've made a copy for each student, maybe in Google Classroom. But if I had editing access, I would double click on that and it would open up a Google Drawing. I love an embedded Google Drawing. And they would be able to modify those and put their own shapes in there. So we've got videos, we've got hands-on activities they're doing outside of the document. We're utilizing some other tools embedded within a tool. So, and all of them are kind of in that vein. They've got different tools that they're using. So that kind of gives you an idea of a Hyperdoc. When you're creating Hyperdocs, let me just go to my drive here. Go to new. I'm sure you notice they have a lot of tables. I'm going to call this Hyperdoc demo. Okay, so if you want to insert tables, what I like to do, if I'm thinking sometimes I'm going to want columns and sometimes I'm going to want rows, I'm going to go ahead and go to insert table and I'm going to draw myself a nice large table. And then if you want to kind of rearrange things, you have that option. All right, so let's say I wanted this to have my assignment title. So I'm going to highlight these and I'm going to right click. I'm going to merge the cells and I would type assignment title. Okay, and then maybe I would merge these. And directions, video link. See how I'm kind of playing with this a little bit? Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, etc., right? And obviously you'd have content in here, but you can utilize tables to keep everything where you want it to be. And you can merge cells going down too. So tables, you don't have to use tables to create a Hyperdoc, but they can be pretty helpful. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. They're also in here on hyperdocs.co. So we looked at samples that had a bunch of content in it. There's also some templates where they've already got the tables made up, especially if you're just getting into it and you want a little more guidance. They use this engage, explore, explain, apply, share, reflect, extend a lot. So these are all set up with that already in there in different ways. And if you like any of those, you can use those too. Now I know you saw where I didn't have editing access. So anytime you want to use a sample or a template from this website, you just go up to File, make a copy, make your own copy, and then you'll have editing access to that. Okay. All right. Let's move away from Hyperdocs a little bit and talk about these playlists. So playlists are kind of similar, except it's more of a list. So when you think of a playlist, you're thinking of songs typically playing in order or videos playing in order. With playlists, they are more like a list of tasks or activities for students to do. They do them in order, and then they kind of check them off as they go. So it's kind of a roadmap for a lesson. There's a really nice interview in here that you can listen to that give you a better idea. But I'm going to come down here. So here's a sample playlist. So you can say, see, there's the activity, the directions, students can make notes, and then they can put the date they completed it. And it allows students to, again, take ownership, be more self-directive, work at their own pace. And it also allows you to differentiate. You're able to add or remove content, modify content within here. And again, the students can work ahead if they need to. They can, take their time if that's what they need. So it just allows you a little bit of freedom in here. But it's a little different than the Hyperdoc because it's a Hyperdoc. You've got your different lesson elements, but it's not as much a checklist. This is really more of a step-by-step checklist. And this can be over multiple days. It can be over a whole unit, however you want to do it. But she's got several different ones you can look at here to get a better idea. But these are both great options, whether you look at the playlist to allow students to kind of work at their own pace. Check things off. It's really great for your students that struggle with figuring out what to do first and what order to do things in and not knowing what to do next. It's really great for those kids. And then you've also got those Hyperdocs that allow you to create some dynamic, engaging content and deliver it all in one place so you're not messing with a bunch of different links and having students struggle to get in the right place at the right time. Okay? All right, I'm going to stop it there. We could probably spend all day making Hyperdocs and playlists and things like that. If you have any questions for me, again, I'm going to put my email up here for you. Please, please, please feel free to email me at Caryn, C-A-R-Y-N, @soida.org, and I'd be happy to help you out with your Hyperdocs and playlists. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.